Connected with Zach and Chandler yet, be sure to check out their profiles. They bleed that Utah red all throughout, so give them some love. And I know we were saying at the beginning, we were chatting ahead of time, there might be some BYU Cougar undergrads who came to Eccles for their master's degrees. We still love you too. So much love to everyone who's joining. Okay, that being said, let me share the good stuff. So, I want to let you know that you've got this amazing team that's here to support your success. And I know that on the topic of job searching, we're always talking about, hey, it's a little emotional, you're putting yourself out there, you're being vulnerable. So just know that you have these amazing folks here to support you. And if Zach and Chandler and anyone on the Utah side can help you, just give them a holler on LinkedIn over email because they are awesome. In addition, I want to let you know a little bit about your speaker tonight. I'm coming to you having had this super lucky business school career. I actually didn't get my start here in Silicon Valley, where I'm calling you from. I got my start back in New York City as a kindergarten teacher of all things. And one of the things that I loved about teaching was getting a chance to help kids learn technology. Now, I'm going to date myself a little bit. This was back in the day, so it was things like recording MP3s and making PowerPoints. But that same geeky passion led me to business school and then ultimately to jobs at Apple and Google and all these cool places. But there were two places that really changed the course of my career. And the first one was LinkedIn. And that's for the simple reason that if you want to know what's happening in that hiring black box, why haven't I heard back from that employer on my resume? Getting to work inside LinkedIn is like getting to work inside Nirvana, understanding what really happens inside that box and making it work for you. So I'm going to be sharing those insider secrets. In addition, a couple years ago, I was working for this guy. And if you recognize his face, put his name in the chat, but chances are more likely you may recognize his voice because this is Sal Khan, the founder of Khan Academy and the maker of all those famous YouTube videos for learning math and calculus and getting ready for the GMAT. And he was my boss 2 summers ago. Calls me into his office, says, Jeremy, I need you to close the door because what I'm about to show you is about to change the future of our civilization. And I'm like, Sal, come on. We completely fall for this nonsense in Silicon Valley over and over again. He said, just try it yourself. There on his screen, 6 months before ChatGPT ever launched, was ChatGPT 4, the most cutting edge AI in the world. And as soon as I started using it, I said, this is not just great for education, this is great for careers. And I've made it my mission over the last 2 years to support amazing leaders like Zach and Chandler, amazing alumni and students like yourselves to use these tools to land great jobs. And I want to do the same for you tonight, but I got to warn you, this is not your standard webinar. And you know the drill. You show up to a webinar, you pay a little attention, you start to multitask. Before you know, you've completely lost the thread. No way. Tonight is way different. I'm going to ask you to answer some pop quizzes, so get ready for those. I'm going to ask you to volunteer for live role plays, and I've got a great offer for you. If you volunteer for a live demo, I will give you a choice of the #1 best-selling ChatGPT for Careers book in the world, sent right to you wherever you are, or a free profile makeover straight from yours truly, so you can stand out, start the new year right. And then third and finally, even if you don't want to volunteer, no worries at all. Just do me the biggest favor of all, which is take action. Try these things on your screen, get immediate results. So here we go. First pop quiz. If you had to guess how many resumes the average recruiter is juggling at any given time, is it A, about 100 resumes at once, B, about 1,000 resumes at once, or C, a whopping 10,000 resumes all at one time? So Derek, Easton, Emma, come to the chat. Give me an A, a B, or a C. Let me know what you think. Now, Zach, this is interesting. I'm seeing some different answers here, like Ben saying B, Braden saying B, but I'm seeing a lot of C's. Troy's saying C, Hillary's saying C. Let's start with Troy McIntyre. Troy, if you don't mind unmuting for one moment, how did you arrive at that calculation? 10,000 resumes.
Well, the jobs I'm applying for have well over 100. So unless they are only doing a couple of roles, they gotta have that many.
Wow, Troy, you put your finger right on the pulse, which is recruiters would love to only have a couple roles to fill. But in fact, if you go right to SHRM, the largest HR organization in the world, recruiters report having 30 to 40 roles to fill. And then multiply that by a couple hundred resumes. Just like you said, Troy, these poor recruiters are buried. So the next question becomes, how do they dig themselves out? And specifically, how many seconds are they spending on each of these resumes on average? Is it A, 6 seconds, B, 25 seconds, or C, a full minute's worth of attention? And it turns out this time, Zach, every Ute is unified. Hillary's saying A, Braden saying A, Alina says A, exclamation mark. I love that energy, Alina. Alina, what was behind that energy there? Alina Smith, why did you say
I think because over time, people's attention span has become that of a goldfish.
A?
So,
Oh, yeah, sad
and
commentary on society, right?
yeah, we're just browsing. We instead of reading paragraphs, we're reading tweets. So it's kind of like that with resumes.
That's right.
So,
Our character is down to like 280 characters worth of attention at a time. Well, here's the reality. Recruiters probably are socially addicted just the way that we rest of us are, but they also have this really tough job to do. And so they train their eyes over time to really focus on the most important signals. How can I get a sense of whether this person makes sense so I can quickly move on? And it turns out that these poor recruiters have a really tough job. So, what this session is really about, more than technology or algorithms, is understanding our audience. What is it like to be a recruiter? How do we understand that to help ourselves get a great job? And the big reality is this. Here in 2025, recruiters have a choice. They could read all 10,000 of those resumes, or they could just go to LinkedIn and search 1 billion professionals instantly to find the perfect talent. And as you might guess, recruiters are choosing the latter more and more. So the question becomes, if every recruiter is moving to LinkedIn, what the heck are they searching for? Is it A, a specific degree, B, a specific university, or C, a particular job title? And once again, Zach and Chandler, the Utah team is unified because Quinn's saying C, Hillary's saying C, Alina's saying C. Let's go to Hillary this time. Hillary, you said it's all about job title. Why is that so important to recruiters?
Hi, sorry, I've got my daughter here in the
Oh,
background.
no worries.
Um, I said C because, I follow a couple of recruiters on TikTok, and in my last job, I took part in help hiring for our department, and it just seemed like degree ended up being less and less important because what you need sometimes are those soft skills, those people skills and things like that. And so you look at a job title and then kind of go from there, I think, to look at like experience and things like that. Or at least that's what we did anyway.
Yeah. And it turns out what you did is what everyone is doing, Hillary, which is saying at the end of the day, the school might be nice. We love Utah. We love MBAs. But what we really need is a product manager or a director or whatever it is. And so that's what recruiters start with first. And to prove it to you, I'm going to take you right into the most important screen in the entire hiring process that no one ever gets to see except for the recruiters. And here's why. We can all use LinkedIn for free, but this tool called LinkedIn Recruiter costs $10,000 per year per seat. And the reason that LinkedIn can charge so much for this tool is, let's face it, more than Facebook and social, more than Google and search, LinkedIn has a monopoly. All the world's talent data all in one place. It's irresistible for recruiters, and we've got to understand it. And as you can see here, Hillary nailed it. It is all about function. So, to put this in the context of your career, I want every single Ute pull up your profile right now, whether you've had one for 20 years or you just created it yesterday. Look at the little headline below your name, and if it says something like, here's the degree I'm getting at Utah right now, here's the degree that I got before, here's my current job, but not the job that I want, just know that you are missing out. Because what recruiters are looking for on LinkedIn is not just the past, not just where you are right now, but what you can do for them tomorrow. And if you're feeling at all confused or nervous about what that right path looks like for you, I want you to do me and you a big favor by raising your hand right now in Zoom. Because the first person who raises their hand is going to win that free book, that free profile makeover, and they're going to get everything they need to find that perfect path. And our first volunteer is going to be Brandon. So, everyone, give Brandon so much love in the chat for being so brave. And Brandon, feel free to turn on your mic, even your webcam if you like, and let's work on this together. Welcome, Brandon.
Hi, thanks.
Hey, Brandon, how are you?
Good, doing well. How are you?
Doing awesome. Tell us a bit about yourself. Student, alum, what's the
Yeah,
background?
I'm a bit of both. So I did my undergrad in finance at the U, and then I'm currently doing my MBA at the U. Also, I'm the first year MBA
Oh,
student right now.
congratulations. That's awesome. And
Thank you.
what's brought you back to school? What are you thinking about in terms of next steps?
I'm wanting to pivot my career. So I got a background in finance, and then from some recommendations from some mentors that they had in my undergrad, I went and got a working background in accounting,
Cool.
and I wanted to switch back into finance. So I came back to kind of build my skill set a little bit more so I can switch into that.
That's awesome. And so are you focused on a very specific job title at this point, Brandon? Or are you open to different roles in the financial world?
I'm open to different roles. I am looking right now at like finance leadership development programs.
Cool, cool. Well, check this out. I don't know if you tried this before, but it turns out that you have a big advantage that didn't even exist for all your fellow alums on the line right now when they were at Eccles, because you have the power of AI as well as the Eccles career team to support your success. So, Brandon, have you ever tried using ChatGPT to kind of try to find that right path for yourself?
Very a little bit, but not very much.
Okay, and so just to be really clear, you never want to start with the basic stuff, like, what should I do with my life? And then put a giant SOS to the world, because ChatGPT can answer that, but it's going to be really full of platitudes. Reflect on your interests, set small goals, blah, blah, blah. We got to get more specific. And so what we're going to do is we're going to say, I'm an Eccles MBA student with a background in finance and accounting. Now, I want you to tell me a little bit about what makes you unique, Brandon. So let's start with skills. What are some of the things you're really good at? And then let's also cover passions. What are you excited about?
Yeah. I'm pulling up my resume also so I can have
Yeah.
these just easily on the top of my head. So skills, I have skills in, I've done a lot of like financial statement analysis and kind of data management and data analysis. A lot of stuff with like gap reporting, financial reporting, Excel, different CRM systems,
Yeah, beautiful.
QuickBooks, some kind of the hard skills that I've developed over the years.
Very cool. And by the way, Brandon, you're getting a lot of love in the chat. So everyone's rooting for you here. And then what about what lights you up? Like if you just imagine yourself getting out of bed at 6 a.m. with a giant smile on your face, as opposed to, oh God, not again. What does that look like to you?
Yeah, so I really enjoy rock climbing, indoor rock climbing. Um, then this isn't very usual, but I'm pretty big into baking cake and getting
Whoa.
into sourdough right now.
Oh my goodness. Um, I was gonna say it was funny. We were talking with that alum previously, and her daughter was in the room. My daughter is over here baking a cake as we speak, so that is awesome.
It's awesome.
Baking cakes and sourdough. And here's the thing: the whole point of ChatGPT and all these tools is not just to spit out one size fits all answers, because that's not very useful. It's to help you find the path that's actually right for who you are. And I'm going to be honest with you. The one thing that I do not love about business school culture is it tends to be very funnel like. It pushes us into these roles where everyone should be a banker or everyone should be a product manager, when in fact there are thousands and thousands of roles out there that might be even better if we open our eyes to them. So here's what we're going to do. We're going to say, what are 10 job titles that match my skills and interests? And as much as I want everyone rooting on Brandon, be sure to root on yourself. And the easiest way to do that is take that prompt right in the chat, obviously update the skills, update the experiences, and then run it for yourself. And what's really cool about this is ChatGPT can say, hey, there are some pretty obvious roles, financial analyst, business analyst, but there's also a lot of other stuff. What about being a product manager or an operations manager or doing data analysis in the food space? And because there are all these options, we need a way to think through them strategically. So I'm going to ask for one last piece of advice here, Brandon. If you close your eyes and you imagine a career that you love, what are the hallmarks of that career? Not just a specific title, but is it travel, compensation, work-life balance, time in nature? Like what makes a great life for you?
Yeah, so I have two little kids and a
Nice.
wife, so I was definitely say work-life balance would be a big one, and also
Yeah, keep going, Brandon. This is great. Oh, I'm so sorry. I think we might have lost Brandon's audio for a second. I'll probably pop back on in a moment. I'm just going to fill this out in the meantime. Let's say Brandon wants that work-life balance, take care of his young kids. And Zach and Chandler, let me know if you can still hear me. I just want to make sure.
Yeah, we can hear you.
Okay,
Yep.
we'll get Brandon back on the line. Fear not. Let's say work-life balance. He also wants to make some compensation because he's got to take care of his family, and he wants a chance to spend time in nature because that's just sort of who he is. So he comes in here with these unique values. And again, I want everyone trying this on your screen. Try that prompt. One of the really cool things that ChatGPT can do is while no tool can tell you what to do with your life, it can at least give you a sense of the trade-offs. Because that's what life and strategy is, right? One of the things we learned in business school is how to make some of those decisions, even when things involve more of this or less of that. So Brandon, are you able to speak or say anything?
Yeah, can you hear me?
Hey, there we go. I knew we'd get you back. Welcome back. Okay, so Brandon, I don't know if you saw any of the stuff on the screen, but were any of these roles intriguing to you in terms of they kind of give you the ingredients, if you will, a little baking metaphor for a great life?
On those job role rankings you're talking about?
Yeah, exactly. These things on the screen right now.
Yeah, so a corporate strategy analyst really sticks out to me.
Beautiful. Now, if you want to dive into that role, obviously you can go back and forth with ChatGPT. Tell me about the role, tell me about a day in the life. But it's just AI sort of mimicking what it's seen on the internet. If you want the real scoop, you've got to talk to the real people doing the job. And I've got good news for you, Brandon. It turns out those people also went to Eccles. If you come to this page on LinkedIn, which is the page that my team built at LinkedIn specifically for this situation, to help students explore careers, to help alumni find each other, you come right over here and say, hey, I want to find someone who's doing corporate strategy work because I want to learn not just from a machine, but from an actual insider. And check this out, Brandon. You've got 92 Utes at Google, Mrs. Fields, Great Bull Rescue, National Veterinary Associates, Onyx Consulting, JP Morgan Chase, Verizon, Bank of America. Does that feel like a murderer's row of opportunities to explore?
Yeah, that looks awesome.
Okay, so let's go on down. I was thinking, it's kind of funny. What if we went to Mrs. Fields? I was thinking about your interest in baking. I know it's kind of crazy and out there, but if you could learn from the head of business operations at Mrs. Fields Cookies right there in Salt Lake City, how would that feel?
Yeah, that'd be pretty cool.
I just want to make sure, Brandon, I did not plant you as an example of this. This is all totally serendipitous. Is that right?
That's correct. Yeah.
Okay. I'm pretty blown away myself. I didn't know if we'd be able to find that baking connection, but sure enough, here we go. Okay, you want to learn from Sean, so you're going to go ahead and reach out to him. What's your strategy? Do you connect? Do you message? Do you do something else?
Actually, funny enough, I have a careers class with Marcella and Cindy at the U, and we kind of just went over this today. Um, so I'd first of all see if I had any connections with him, and see
Yeah.
if there's anybody who I had as like a first connection with or even a second connection with that I could reach out to them to maybe like warm introduce me to them or something.
Yeah, I love that. And this is such a powerful piece of LinkedIn is that when you reach out, yeah, you could reach out cold, connect and add a note, or better yet, you actually figure out who you have in common and you have Maury introduce you or Stacy introduce you. So I love that strategy. So smart, Brandon. Now, Brandon, when you have a chance to chat with Sean, what can you possibly ask him to discover if his path makes sense for who you are?
I think I'd want to know about like his background, what got him into it, So I'd ask him like what in his life led him to Mrs. Fields.
Yeah, absolutely. So you could say, tell me about your journey. Every alum loves that. Having a chance to share your story. What else is important to you?
Um, I guess what life is like working there.
Yeah. What's it like on the inside? Is it as sweet on the inside as it is as a customer, so to speak? And so these are all great questions. But here's the thing, Brandon. I don't want you to fall into that FOMO trap in business school of just going after the obvious jobs, the usual suspects, because that's all you know about. I want you to hold yourself accountable to your North Star. And it turns out there's a great hack to do that. Check this out. If you click on more and then you download Sean's profile, because we're going to teach ChatGPT about Sean, we come back to ChatGPT, we upload that file. So here's Sean's entire profile. And we say, I'm about to talk to this alum. What are 10 things I should ask him to understand if his path makes sense for my goals and values? Now, Brandon, does ChatGPT know about your goals and values?
I'm sure it can learn.
Yeah, it seems a little crazy that an AI can know those things about you, But here's the crazy thing, Brandon. I don't mean any disrespect to your wife, but these tools listen and remember much better than our own significant others do because whenever you share something, it's adding that into the conversation. So at this point, once you've shared what you care about, what you're great at, what you love doing, it can come back with all these things that matter to you. So, for example, if it's really important for you to have a role that aligns with your values or a chance to be entrepreneurial, it's going to feed that into these questions to help you hold yourself accountable to that really critical thing in life, which is not just a job, but a career that makes sense for who you are. Now, Brandon, I've got one last big question. Book, free profile makeover, what can I send your way?
A free profile remake would be great.
Yeah, there's no better way to start the new year than with a profile that is a recruiter magnet. So do me a favor, Brandon. I just gave you my email address right there in the chat. Shoot me a message when you get a chance, and I'll work on that makeover as soon as the session is over. Thank you so much, Brandon. You were awesome.
All right, yeah, thank you so much.
Okay, every alum, every current student, give your fellow Ute so much love in the chat because it takes guts to put yourself out there, but that's the best way for all of us to learn. Great job, Brandon. Okay, if you've got questions about anything we're covering here today, I want you to ask those questions. You can put them in the chat, you can raise your hand, you can even put them in the Q&A if that feels better to you. All channels are open, so if there's anything that's on your mind, stop me at any point. Okay, for now, I've got another question for you, and that goes back to the recruiter's experience. So let's talk about this. Imagine you're a recruiter with a billion profiles on LinkedIn. How do you decide if a given candidate is a good fit or not? Is it A, the classes they took, B, the keywords they listed, or C, the GPA they worked so hard to earn back at Eccles? Okay, I'm seeing a lot of B's coming in here. Quinn and Eddie say B, Jared says B, Adam says B, David says B, Aaron Norris says B. Let's go to Aaron. Aaron, you said it's all about keywords. Why are keywords so important when recruiters are on the prowl?
Hi, I guess it just shows what they are um, working on, what they maybe have focused, what their work has been focused on. Yeah, I guess that's what I would think about.
Yeah, because basically you're saying if I'm looking for a needle in a haystack, and remember this haystack has got a billion needles in it, GPA is nice, classes are nice, but that's not enough. I need to figure out can you do this actual job? And the keywords are make or break. And to show you how this works, I'm going to take you all right into the belly of the beast. And just like you said there, Stephen, this LinkedIn recruiter is very much like the ATS. The tool that scans your resume is programmed almost identically to the tool that scans your profiles. So here I am. I'm looking for a project manager in Chicago with these skills. And lo and behold, look who rises to the top of my screen. Sure enough, Emily, Channing, Aubrey, they all have that keyword, but look where they have it. Not just any random place, but every single time it's in their headline. Now, why could that be? Well, it turns out it's not a coincidence, it's not an accident, it is by design. Because LinkedIn search engineers have a super tough job. They've got to break millions of ties every second to help recruiters find the right people. And the easiest way to break a tie is to give more weight to one section or another. And it turns out, because your headline is your shortest section, your hardest to game section, it is also your most authentic section and the one the algorithm prioritizes over all others. And with that in mind, I want to give one lucky Ute a free profile makeover right here on the spot. And all you've got to do is raise your hand. And this time it's going to be our guy, Adam Ferrero. So, Adam, thank you so much for following in Brandon's awesome footsteps. And let's do this for the benefit of every Ute. Welcome, Adam.
Thank you.
Hey, how are you doing today?
Doing great.
Okay,
I appreciate you doing this.
Oh, my pleasure. I'm so glad you volunteered. Tell us a bit about yourself, Adam.
So I'm a recent executive MBA graduate, class of 24. I've been in technology for almost 20 years now, and I'm looking to use my EMBA to pivot up and out of just pure technology into more business steering and strategy and corporate governance.
Beautiful. I love it. So it's a classic sort of MBA move, right? You come in as the technical guy, you leave as the full package unicorn. If you could imagine any job title that a recruiter is typing in or a headhunter is typing in right here, what do you want to be found for, Adam?
Well, I've been following the steps that you've been saying, and what ChatGPT spit out is VP of Digital Transformation,
Ooh.
and Digital Director of Interactive Experiences. I'm really focusing on the entertainment industry.
Yeah.
I'm not restricted to that, but that's what I've been coming up with.
And I kind of suspect, given the fate of all these streaming services right now, every single one of those companies must be hiring for their digital transformation team, trying to figure out how do we sort of get over this cliff and turn into a sustainable business. So I love that. Okay, Adam, before we even touch your profile, we're going to put ourselves in those recruiter shoes again. And I want every classmate doing this with your own dream search. So we're going to search for digital transformation. Maybe you're searching for chief product officer or product manager or whatever it is. Pretend that you are the headhunter. You are searching for your own talent. And now I want you to tell me this, Adam. Of all these people at the top of my list, Divya, Maria, Sujay, Janani, Ashwini, Jeff, Shelly, on, what do they all have in common?
They have it right there in their headline.
Right there in their headline. It is that simple. So even if years from now, you're like, what did that crazy guy Jeremy say back in 2025? Run the search yourself. The pattern is hiding in plain sight. Okay, with that in mind, Adam, do you mind if I pull up your profile, not to criticize, but to shower it with keyword magic?
That sounds great.
Okay, everyone, you got to give Adam some love here. It takes a lot of guts to raise your hand, but to share your profile with your entire alumni community, that takes true courage. So give Adam a lot of love right there in the chat. Okay, here we go. We're going to grab Adam's profile, and then we're going to dive in. Okay, given what we just talked about, I can see that you're making big strides in your headline. It doesn't just say executive MBA, it's got program manager, strategy, operations, even Ironman, which is amazing. But it doesn't have one thing today that will prevent you from being found for those jobs tomorrow. What is that one thing it's missing, Adam?
It's that job title that you mentioned.
Exactly. And I just want to make sure, can you see my screen right now, Adam? Fiona said she was worried she couldn't see it.
Yeah, I can see it.
Okay, Fiona, try maybe moving around some of the windows on your side because it may actually be hiding behind something. So sorry about that. Okay, so here we go. We're going to make sure that you get credit for this thing. And I'm going to make some changes. And don't worry, Adam, this is not live on the internet. It's only my screen. But tell me how you would feel about this. So if I said VP of Digital Transformation, would that feel a little like one step ahead of the game given where you are today?
It would. It also feels disingenuous because I'm not that currently. I'm trying to pivot to it.
Exactly.
How does that relate?
And it turns out that your plight is the same plight of every career changer and every MBA student because we're all in the same boat, which is we know what we want, but we can't put it in our most important section, or can we? Here's the big unlock. Watch this, Adam. If I was to put one single word right here in front of VP that would make it absolutely true and ethical and get you found by recruiters, what would that word be?
Aspiring.
Aspiring, or seeking, or considering? Any one of those things would absolutely make it completely true, and it would still be identical in the mind of the algorithm because all it cares about is can it find your most important keyword in your most important section. So this is the way that we're going to cut through that Gordian knot by signaling where we're headed, even if we're not there yet. Now, Adam, I just want to be really clear. Are you currently employed by any chance? And this would actually like blow up your current role with your boss.
I am currently employed, but he knows that I'm on the market.
Okay, that's cool. I love that. I love it when you have a boss who just gets it that like, life is long, careers go round and round, and is playing the long game. That being said, not all bosses are so forgiving. And so the reality is a lot of us, especially for the alumni out there, we've got to look on the down low. So check this out. If you want to get a way to get your signal out to recruiters without incriminating yourself to your current employer, the way to do that is open to work. You come to open to work, you list the jobs you want, even if you don't have them today. And then this is critical. Do not turn on that green badge. That would be too obvious. Instead, turn on stealth mode, recruiters only. What LinkedIn will do is very savvy. It will show that to all the right people, people who are searching for your talent, and it will not show it to your current employer. Even recruiters at your company who are paying for LinkedIn Recruiter cannot see that signal. So that's the best of both worlds. The right people see it, the wrong people don't. Just want everyone to know that. Now, whether you're an MBA, whether you're an alum, let's face facts. How many people are competing for these roles, Adam?
There's hundreds, if not thousands. I've seen the numbers on LinkedIn of the people who have applied. It's significant.
Yeah. It's a sexy role, right? Who wouldn't want to be sort of at the forefront of everything that's happening in the space? That being said, if that's tough for you, who is it devastating for, Adam? Who does not want to read 800,000 profiles?
It's the recruiters.
The recruiter. So now put yourself in their shoes. If you had this dashboard on your screen, what would you filter for next to really hone in on a much smaller sample size?
The keywords.
The keywords, yeah. Can you do business strategy? Can you do digital transformation, consulting, whatever it is? Now, Adam, I got to be honest with you. I don't have the first clue what recruiters are searching for that role, but I do know one thing. There is a place on LinkedIn where recruiters are giving you a list of the most important keywords every single day, and you don't even have to guess. Where do you think that magical place is, Adam?
I'm not sure. Go ahead and throw the answer there.
And if anyone knows, shout it out, put it in the chat. Help out your guy Adam. Okay, Alina says groups, but Havila says jobs. And I know this is so obvious and so stupid, but the job description really is the source of truth. Because when you're a hiring manager, and I assume you've been a hiring manager yourself, Adam, you are basically spelling out for a recruiter who's never done that job, this is what I need. And so if you come into any of these roles, what you're going to see is you're going to see all that language. I need someone with experience with MIS, data science, someone who's great at project management, Power BI, Alteryx, whatever it is. Now, Adam, if you want to understand which of these keywords actually matter versus which are just fluff, let me show you another hack. You're going to grab one of these tools. I'm just going to grab everything above the benefits. So all the requirements, all the qualifications, everything else. I'm coming over to ChatGPT and watch the simple prompt. What are the top 15 most important skill keywords in this JD, job description? And I want everyone to try that right now. Grab that prompt right out of the chat, grab a job description you're excited about, and for the first time in job seeking, Adam, that black box is not so black anymore. We can actually see inside and know what the recruiter cares about. Now, that's the fun step. Here's the slightly scary step. How would you like to know, Adam, how you're doing on these keywords inside the black box?
I'd have it compare against my resume.
Exactly. So you take your resume or even your LinkedIn profile like we were talking about. So again, more, save to PDF. Everyone try this right now. And better to know now than a year from now after not getting chosen for these jobs. So you upload that file. You say simply to ChatGPT, this is the $1 million question. Which of those skills am I missing? And then once you plug that in, you actually can know and do something about the exact question that challenges every job seeker. Am I qualified? Am I even on the recruiter screen? Now, I know this was kind of a specific role that we were looking at, Adam, and I had some stuff with the robotic processes, which may not be your wheelhouse. But when it comes to software development lifecycle or automation projects or even Power BI and Alteryx, do you have experience with any of these concepts?
Lightly. So this doesn't really match up against my own skill set terribly well.
Okay, and that's totally fine. Like this was one job picked at random. But let's say, for instance, that you had done software development. Maybe you had been a CTO or a lead engineer on lots of projects. If you had that skill, where does it belong on your profile, Adam? Where should you be getting credit for it?
It'll be in the headline.
The headline. So headline is great. There's only one little problem. What makes it so powerful is its brevity. You only have 220 characters to work with, and you're running up against that limit. So if you can't put it in your headline, where else could it go?
Top of about.
Definitely about. So it turns out that everyone has 2,000 characters to work with. And what I love about your about section is that you've actually used them, Adam. So many people have no about, or they've got nothing going on there, whereas you're making them work for you. And if anyone wants a little template to really crush that section, always think about your two audiences. For the human recruiter, how can I make it super clear what I can do for them in one sentence? How can I make them believe in me by giving them the SportsCenter highlight reel version of my career? And for the algorithm, how can I speak its language? How can I give them the keywords that it's looking for? So if anyone wants to borrow that template, I'm putting it right in the chat. But now, Adam, you're a savvy tech guy. If you were programming the LinkedIn algorithm, would you have it prioritize people who just match the keyword at all, like one listing somewhere? Or would you be looking for keyword density, people who have that keyword throughout their profile?
It would have to be density.
And why? What's behind that?
it gives you a clearer picture of what this person's about.
Yeah. And also, it's sort of the proof in the pudding, right? Anyone could watch a YouTube video and say, hey, I'm a software development lifecycle expert. But if you've been using it throughout your career, throughout your jobs, chances are you know what you're talking about. So let's check this out here. You have these great bullet points here, which I love for those awesome quantified impacts. That is what everyone should have on your profile. If you're looking at your profile right now and comparing it to Adam and saying, Adam, you actually have your resume bullets here and I do not, please fix that immediately. Because Adam, can a recruiter see onto your hard drive and see your resume?
No.
No, you don't need to be a tech guy to know that, right? On the other hand, how many times every single day, Adam, do you think your LinkedIn profile is getting scanned by recruiters alone?
I don't honestly know.
So it turns out there are about 10 million recruiters on LinkedIn. They do about 10 searches a day on average. And here's the great news. Because they're paying for this $10,000 a year tool, every search searches every profile, searches every last word. So 100 million times a day, Adam, your profile is getting scanned, as is all of your classmates. If you've got great keywords on your resume, but not your profile, that's a gap that we got to fix. And then finally, the skills section. Turns out that LinkedIn has just boosted this from 50 skills to 100 skills. So you have 40 blank slots here, Adam, and you can fill that up with whatever you're missing. How does that sound?
Sounds great.
Okay. As with everything in life, I'm a strong believer in the Pareto principle, trying to give you the 80% of LinkedIn that really matters and not the stuff that doesn't. But Adam, would you like a full profile makeover all the way from your cover photo down to your recommendations right after the session is over?
Yes.
Okay, so do me a huge favor. Let me know when you're ready for prime time, and I will get working on that profile makeover to help you stand out. Okay, Adam?
Perfect. Sounds great. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. And everyone, give it up for Adam for being awesome and awesomely generous in sharing his profile. Thank you, Adam. Okay, if you've got questions about profiles, whether it's the cover photo, the headshot, that open to work green badge, endorsements, it's all fair game. This is a safe space where you can ask anything because guess what? I'm not on LinkedIn's payroll anymore, so I can finally tell you the truth. If you want to know anything, just raise those hands. Let's start with Quinn and Eddie. Quinn and Eddie, what do you got for us?
Hey, so first off, sorry, we would like to apologize. We didn't realize this was mostly for alumni. We're freshmen here at the
No. You're freshmen?
Yep.
Yes.
Oh my goodness, I love that. Man, if I had the guts at 18 to show up to a session like this, I would be so much further in my career now. So I love what you're doing. Go ahead with your question, guys.
So we had some questions just since we don't really have any work experience. There's like a lot of blank space on LinkedIn. How do we fill in all those spots? Like there's just so much space to like talk about yourself and your experiences, your skills. We're still developing a lot of those. Do we kind of just try to come up with something or over exaggerate skills that we do have?
Yes,
Like,
just be really clear. Never over exaggerate. Like, think of your resume, your LinkedIn as essentially legal documents. If you put stuff on there that ChatGPT generated or that's not true, that can be grounds not just for being dismissed, but even having lawsuits filed against you. So please don't ever do that. That being said, I want to be really clear about the big mistake that so many students make, whether you're undergrad or even in grad school, is you say, hey, I'm a student. Adam's been out there in the world doing this amazing stuff. How do I possibly have anything to fill up? Well, it turns out that when we ask recruiters at LinkedIn, do you care about volunteer experience? Do you care about extracurricular experience? 40% of all recruiters in America said we not only value it, we value it on par with paid experience. It does not matter whether you were paid or not. It matters what you did and how you showcase it. So the number one piece of advice I can give to every student is please do not bury all the great stuff you did as a club president, working in your church, helping out a local nonprofit, down in the volunteer section or the education section. Put it right where recruiters always look, which is experience. Doesn't matter what the pay structure was. If you did great stuff, get credit for it. Does that make sense?
Yep, that makes sense.
Okay, what's next?
I mean, really, that was like a big thing for us just because, I don't, unless I'm blanking on something, like looking at our LinkedIn's while the other guys were talking, that was really just, I feel like the only thing that we could put on it right now. Other than
Yeah.
that, we aren't even declared for our majors yet. We kind of
Yeah.
have like general ideas of what we want to do, but it's like, oh, we want to go into finance. Maybe we want to go into like this type of finance or that type, but it's still so vague that is it even worth it to put anything else or like
Yeah, yeah. And please don't worry about like having to have everything figured out by freshman year. There are lots of people on this line who are 40 years past freshman year who are still figuring it out day to day. So no worries about that. That being said, what I would highly recommend is sit down with your Eccles career team. Schedule those appointments, get to know them because they can walk you through this process. And if it's 3 in the morning in your dorm and you're like, oh, I can't even call the career team, go to ChatGPT and say, hey, I'm a freshman at Eccles. I need to build up my profile. What are 10 student-friendly ways to add to my experience? And the thing is that ChatGPT is no good at writing cover letters, no good at writing a resume, but it's really good for brainstorming, helping you think about the stuff you've done, helping you really showcase why you're special, even if you don't see it yourself. Okay, guys?
Yep, thank you.
Awesome.
Thank you.
Big props to Quinn and Eddie. I'm seeing so much love from alums, from Marcella, and I love what Zach said. Alum from day one. Yes, that is the youth power. I really love that. Okay, let's take some more questions. Over to Jared. Jared, what's on your mind?
Hey, Jeremy, I just had a quick question. The open to work, I was wondering, is that used as a label or does that actually change the algorithm when recruiters are looking for candidates?
Yeah, it's really mysterious because I know there's a lot of debate about this. If you want to get people fighting on LinkedIn, as boring as LinkedIn is can be, ask them what they think about the open to work. Well, here's the reality. It turns out that when you ask recruiters themselves, do you care about the stealth version versus the green version? The vast majority of recruiters, 80% in my own surveys, say I could not care less about that holy war. All I need to know is whether you're in the game or not. And just to make it really clear, I'm going to give you the entire LinkedIn recruiter screen. I want you to see everything on it. Yes, as we talked about, it starts with job title, it starts with keywords, but it also includes whether you're serious or not. Are you actively looking for new opportunities, or are you completely happy where you are? And because recruiters can instantly filter to get rid of anyone who does not have open to work on, I would say it behooves every single person on this line, whether you're a student, whether you're an alum, if you're open to new opportunities, get credit for it using this filter right here. Does that make sense, Jared?
Yep, that does. Thank you.
Okay, awesome. Hopefully that helps everyone figure out what to do with that. There was a great question here from, I believe it was Braden. What advice do you have for building your skills section on your profile? Okay, the skills section, as it turns out, is actually the easiest section to deal with because you don't have to figure out a million fancy ways of writing it. You're just listing things one by one. Public speaking, career counseling, whatever it is. So what I would do for you, Braden, is I would do exactly what we were just talking about. You say, I want to work in biotech. Um, what are the top 50 keywords that matter? And because ChatGPT has been trained on pretty much every single biotech job description and every single marketing job description, it has a pretty good sense of the patterns. And you can go right down this list and say, hey, I'm working on genomics right now. I have genetic engineering experience. I've never done CRISPR, but I have done bioinformatics. And make sure that you fill that up, not necessarily all the way to 100, but getting as much credit for as many of the keywords that matter. Great question. Okay, Troy says, is there a way to see roughly how many job candidates there are for a job title versus the total postings for that job title? So yeah, so Troy, there is definitely a way to get a sense for it. You've probably seen this on LinkedIn, where you come over here to the job section and you say, show me the jobs in my space. So you come over here to founder in residence, and it will tell you, oh, 100 people clicked apply. What it can never tell you, however, Troy, is how many people are serious, are actually a good fit. So I don't want you to get freaked out by this number. Even if you see 1,000 people clicked apply, maybe 990 were completely useless from the recruiter's perspective, and you are the perfect one. So rather than worry about the numbers game, focus on the quality side. How do I nail the keywords? How do I connect with people on the inside? That's what matters most at the end of the day. Great question. Okay, we've got time for one last pop quiz. So here we go. Final pop quiz. Imagine now that it is 5 years from now. It's January 2030. We're starting a new decade. And you are starting the new decade by hiring someone for your company. When you walk into the hiring room with total excitement, you discover to your shock that your three candidates are all from the cast of The Simpsons. You've got Homer, you've got Lisa, And yes, you've got Mr. Burns. If you had to choose one of these characters for your own team, who would you want to work with? Emma says B, Havala says B, Jared says B. Let's start with Emma. You were the first of many Lisa fans. What's behind your Lisa fandom, Emma?
Well, she's just really smart and quirky and has a lot of energy.
Yeah, but let me push on that a little bit, Emma. I could definitely see why Lisa feels like she's going to be better than her dad. However, you could also argue that Mr. Burns is a business genius. He's built this nuclear power plant, he's built this empire. Why do you prefer Lisa over Mr. Burns?
Because she can be taught and he already knows it all.
I love that. And it turns out that you've hit on the exact thing that all humans think about, Emma, which is whenever sociologists go around the world and they ask people, how do you assess someone else? How do you know if they're friend or foe? Yeah, it starts with competence. Do they know what they're talking about? Can they do the job? But it always comes back to warmth. Do I trust this person? Would I want to work with this person? Or would they be a pain in the you know what? As a result, what I want you to think about the next time you're going in for an interview is not just how to be super competent and robotic, but how to be that warm Lisa Simpson character that we all want on our teams. So, to ace what you say as well as how you say it, I'm going to show you two final AI tools to get you pointed in the right direction. And all I need is one final volunteer to raise their hand one last time, claim that last profile makeover, that last free book, and help us close out the session in style. And this time it's going to be Braden. Braden, you're on fire. You already had that awesome question. Come on down, Braden.
Hey.
Hey, how are you? Tell us a bit about yourself, Braden.
Yeah, I am a recent alumni, graduated in 22. I have been working in the product space for the last probably 7 years now.
Nice.
A unique thing about my career journey is the company I was with was recently acquired in a PE acquisition, and I
Oh.
was part of the consolidation.
Oh, man.
So I am now actively looking as we speak.
Okay. Well,
So I'm
I feel
looking
your,
for another product role.
yeah.
Yeah.
I feel your pain, Braden. I know others on the group do too. Right now, it has been a brutal time in the tech sector for anyone who's in this world. I've got so many friends over at Google, Facebook, Amazon, all these places who are going through the same thing. So just know that you're not alone, and you have an amazing Utah and Eccles community waiting to support you here. That being said, let's aim big, Braden. If you could work anywhere for your next role, and you could be interviewing at any company, which seat would you like to be sitting in?
That's a good question. Probably some form of product, like lead product,
Oh,
or
interesting.
digital transformation of some kind.
Yeah. So like a cannabis product, is that right?
No,
Oh,
like a product lead, like head of
oh, product lead.
at
I
least a product
thought.
line, or although the other could be fun.
Yeah, I was gonna say. Clearly my brain is in the wrong place because I thought you had said the other thing. Okay, that's great. So a product lead, beautiful. So you're kind of open to different companies, different sectors.
Yeah.
Um, and that being said, we're gonna tackle those two phases that we talked about, competence and warmth, one at a time. And we're gonna start with the competence piece because it's actually a little bit easier. So imagine now that you are getting ready for this big interview for a product leader. If you want to understand what your boss cares about, what he or she is likely to ask you in the interview room, where could you go today to guess what you're likely to face tomorrow?
It would, I'd probably look at the company itself, see if I could identify what products they're going to be launching. I don't know. That's kind of tricky to forecast where they will be going, though.
Yeah. So it is tricky until you realize that, again, that source of truth is hiding in plain sight because it all comes back to the job description. Remember, the job description is written by your future boss. So this is their chance to basically give a cry for help from inside the building, saying, yikes, I've got way too much to get done. I need someone to crush these things for me, make me look good. So here's what we're going to do. We're going to come over here. We're going to look for product lead job. Now, are you looking in Salt Lake City? Are you looking elsewhere, Braden?
Salt Lake City.
Beautiful. Okay, so this,
Hybrid could be, but Salt Lake City hybrid.
yeah.
Ideally.
Now, this is kind of cool. Product operations lead for Lululemon of all things. Interesting. So we're going to look at this job description. And again, our eyes start to water. Oh my goodness, I don't even understand half this stuff. Well, here's what we do. We grab that job description. We grab everything that's listed here, and we come back to ChatGPT and say, hey, our human eyes are not up to this task, but your robot eyes are just the thing we need. What are the 10 most likely interview questions for this role? We just plug it in. And the beautiful thing about AI is it can instantly translate from a bullet point in a job description to the things they're really likely to ask us. So, for example, if they care a lot about people who are awesome in a team environment, they're going to ask about that in our conversation. Now, Braden, you've probably faced a million behavioral questions in your day. Tell me about a time. Give me an example. If you think back to your Eccles days, what did your awesome career team tell you to use to answer those questions? Which framework?
The from X to Y, essentially. So here's the problem, here's the action, here's the result.
Yeah.
With the last two, especially holding numbers.
Yeah. So whether you call it like car or star or whatever it is, we're all pretty familiar with that idea of let me lay it out step by step to make it really logical. Now you know star, Braden. I know star. Who else do you think knows star that's not even human?
ChatGPT will tell us.
This is crazy. This is nuts. Generate a star answer for number 7 based on my CV. I'm going to paste in my personal resume just in the interest of time here and check out what happens. Every single time I run this, Braden, a little part of me dies on the inside. And maybe you're going to feel the same way. Because I think about in business school spending 30 hours diagramming all my stories in an Excel spreadsheet. And bam, in 3 seconds, ChatGPT's got me organized, ready to make that story flow. But I don't want you to use that extra time just to root for the Utah basketball team this winter. I want you to use it to practice the warmth side of things. Now, Braden, last question, biggest question. If you're walking into this interview at Lululemon and you are so excited to connect with them, but you also feel really nervous and cold, how do you demonstrate warmth when you open that door?
I don't know. Start with a smile. Just be excited, I guess. I don't have a solid answer on that one.
Okay, Zach says show up in your Lulu joggers. I love that. Okay, so this is interesting. I've been reading that Lululemon stock has been on the rise recently because their joggers or whatever have been outperforming. So it could be a good time to join. Let's look over the last couple months. Yep, there you go. So if you ever want to hop on the Lulu train, this is your time, Braden. That being said, apart from showing up in your Lulu joggers, let's actually change the frame here. When you think about the Utah football team prepping for a big game, maybe it is the game against BYU, everything's on the line. Are they practicing by reading about football and thinking about football, or are they actually going through the motions to burn those techniques into their muscle memory?
Yeah, they're studying specifically for the opponent that they'll be up against that week.
Exactly. And so they're practicing on the field. They're not just going through the motions on the field, they're videotaping what they do on the field. Why would they bother to tape it, Braden? Who cares?
So they can go back and watch it and videotape themselves to improve themselves, videotape their opponents to know where they might go as well.
That's right. And so it turns out the key that everyone has known for 100 years or more is that if you want to get better at something, it's not enough just to go through the motions. You've got to hold yourself accountable, whether it's through videotape or anything else. There's got to be a mechanism to continue to push you in the right direction. If I could give you ultimate accountability, Braden, to take your interview skills all the way to world class, would you be interested, especially if it was for free?
Of course.
Check this out. Like I've been saying the whole time, all of these tools have been hiding in plain sight. And this is the first example of it. If you come to jobs right on LinkedIn and then to interview prep, you will discover that LinkedIn has this entire tool just like the film system that the Utah football team uses. So you've got practice on all the most common questions, practice on the questions for the roles that you want. And then when you do this practice, you're not just going to go through the motions and make mistakes and ultimately fall back on them. You are going to hold yourself accountable to greatness. You're going to say, hey, am I coming across the way I want to? Am I being the best version of myself? Or am I ultimately shooting myself in the foot by falling back on bad habits? whether I'm speaking too fast or too slow, speaking in a monotone voice, having all these likes and ums that are destroying my speech. Better yet, instead of just relying on the AI coach, I go right over to the Eccles alumni directory and I find like 100 people who work at Lululemon to get insider feedback on my answer. How does that feel, Braden?
That's a cool tool.
Here's the best part, 100% free. You do not need LinkedIn Premium. It is available right now. So for any Ute who's standing on the precipice of greatness, grab this tool, get ready to crush those interviews. Final question, Braden. Free profile makeover or free book? What can I send your way?
Let's do the profile.
You got it. All right. So check out my email right there. Shoot me a message, and I'll hook you up with that makeover, get you ready, get you back on that horse ASAP. Thanks so much, Braden.
Thank you.
Awesome. Okay. I know we're down to our final minute, but before we go, I want to give you some goodies. So first of all, number one, I would love to stay in touch. If you've got questions that we didn't get to tonight, I apologize, but let me rectify that. Send me a question tomorrow morning, a year from now, whenever I can be useful. Drop me a note. Happy to help. Number two is please, please, please give so much love to Zach and Chandler, your amazing team, for supporting your success, making this possible. And then one last crazy thing. Back when I was in many of your shoes, I was a grad student in an MBA. I was an intern at Apple in the summer of 2011. And there, as this lowly intern sitting way back at the back row of Apple's big events, I saw the man himself, Steve Jobs, get up on stage for what turned out to be the very last time, because he was already really sick. And as he got on stage and he was really frail, really feeble, I wasn't sure he was going to make it through the session. But the amazing thing is he not only made it through that session, he kept on going. He pulls out this one last bonus slide, one more thing, and then he pulls out his iPhone. It's for the first time in the history of our world, I'm going to talk to my computer and it's going to talk back to me. And that, of course, was the day that Siri launched. And that was the beginning of this whole crazy AI journey that we're all on together. So in honor of that moment, I've got one more thing for you, and I call it Profile Bot 4K. Here's how it works. I know LinkedIn is no one's favorite social network, and that's fine. But I want you to understand it for what it really is, which is a portal to opportunity. And if you say, hey, I want to be a product manager, even though I'm coming from a different background, this is going to tell you exactly how to tell your story. Here's the headline. Here's the killer about section. Here are the keywords that matter. Here's everything you need to really get found for whatever you desire. And this tool is 100% free for every Ute, courtesy of Zach, courtesy of Chandler, to help you stand out. And if you want to grab that link in the chat, all I ask in return is do me a huge favor. As this new year dawns, reflect back on what Steve said that day, which is, hey, we're not here just to go through the motions. We are here to put a big honking dent in the universe. So find that path that's right for you, connect with fellow alums across the Eccles world, and then go out there and leave your mark all across the universe. I cannot wait to celebrate your success. Thank you guys so much.
Awesome. Thank you, Jeremy. And thank you all for being here. I really appreciate everyone taking time on their Tuesday evening, being here, and hopefully you all got some great information, great tools, and really learned something. I know I did. Like I said, we'll be sending you an email asking for feedback on the session, and then we'll also give you a save the date for our next webinar to learn more, and hopefully we'll have a quarterly cadence with these, so we'll keep you coming back and learning more, and also share this session, share Jeremy's resources, and share everything we're doing at the school with your network. So thank you all again for being here, and go Utes.
Happy New Year, everyone.
And Happy New Year.